It's an about face, but Sony Pictures says it will release the interview on Christmas after all.
All new tonight, Phoenix police are looking into what appears to be a bogus medical marijuana dispensary. New at 5, a man connected to 6 bank robberies in the Northwest could be heading to Arizona.
That Phoenix Police Chief Daniel Garcia has been fired.
All of this going down in just the last hour and just moments after he held a heated news conference. New Year's Eve is still more than a week away, but investors already have a reason to celebrate.
Well, dozens of people gathered in downtown Phoenix tonight calling for change in response to deadly police shootings of unarmed black men, including Remain Brisbane.
Well, the Secret Service has confirmed it is investigating a data security breach at Target, so we know this could be far-reaching. But the company itself isn't talking, and customers are concerned. Well, we are used to hearing about people putting tracking devices like LoJack on their vehicles, but they're also available for smaller items. And that technology just helped police bust a suspected burglar. The Save Our Home AZ program has been around for several years now, but not too many people have taken advantage of it. I spoke with a Phoenix woman who was about to lose her condo when the state stepped in and shaved off more than $100,000 off her loan. Catherine, it is just a heartbreaking situation. Police say a father killed his 2 young daughters before turning the gun on himself. Around 3 o'clock this afternoon, detectives entered this home after getting a search warrant, and as you can see, they're still hard at work.
We're hearing from the families whose dogs died in a Gilbert boarding facility this summer.
It is the first time they're speaking out after animal cruelty charges against the facility's owners were dismissed. The county attorney made the announcement yesterday. Bill Montgomery says the case presented to a grand jury left out possible issues with an air conditioning unit. CBS 5's Laura Malpert joins us live from Scottsdale, where the dogs' families gathered today. An about face, but Sony Pictures says it will release the interview on Christmas after all. President Obama is applauding Sony Pictures for its decision to release the interview. White House officials stressed the U.S. believes in free speech and the right of artistic expression. Meantime, there's speculation the United States might have something to do with an internet blackout in North Korea. There was a 9-hour outage in that country yesterday. The blackout happened just days after the FBI blamed North Korea for the hack on Sony. U.S. officials haven't commented on the outage and remain cryptic about plans to avenge the attack on Sony. Sony itself isn't exactly off the hook. Members of Congress are demanding answers from the company. Lawmakers are asking Sony for information on the data breaches and details of investigations regarding the hacks. They say the number and sophistication of cyber attacks pose a danger to our national security. New Year's Eve is still more than a week away, but investors already have a reason to celebrate. The Dow closed above 18,000 for the first time ever today. The S&P 500 also finished at an all-time high. A report showing the U.S. economy grew at a 5% annual rate last quarter, the fastest pace since 2003, helped the market jump. During one of the busiest travel weeks of the year, Southwest Airlines and its baggage handlers are clashing over benefits.
Well, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Rebecca Thomas. We begin this noon hour with the very latest on a wildfire burning in northeastern Arizona. The San Juan fire has grown to about 2,500 acres. It is burning southeast of the small community of Vernon, which is halfway between Springerville and Show Low. CBS 5's Carla Navarrete has been tracking the San Juan fire all morning. And Carla, what have you learned so far? Katie Baker is keeping an eye on weather conditions in the burn area. And Katie, yesterday I know wind was a concern. How are things looking today? Phoenix police are on the lookout for a gunman who opened fire on 2 people, killing one of them. It happened last night at a park near 106th Avenue and Camelback. Investigators say the 2 victims were playing basketball when a teenager came over and shot them. 22-year-old Dershawn Stard died. His 14-year-old friend was hurt. Police believe this is gang-related. If you have any information, they do want to hear from you. Just 3 months after the new F-35 landed at Luke Air Force Base, the Pentagon has grounded the jet. Luke officials confirmed operations have been suspended until further notice. This comes after a fire broke out on board a jet based in Florida. The pilot wasn't hurt, but Air Force officials say they want to make sure the aircraft is safe before any other F-35s take off. A Mesa man jumped into a canal to rescue a dog struggling in the water, and he says he was just doing what first responders encouraged him to do. Well, the dog freaked out and started biting Timothy Walsh in the face and shoulder. But there are some discrepancies between his story and what first responders are now saying.
Prior to him,
that Walsh had to have 29 stitches and has bandages all across his face, as you saw. Once the dog was pulled out, it got away. Mesa police say they don't have a policy on rescuing dogs in canals, but Walsh hopes this incident changes that. Smugglers come up with some crazy ways to get drugs into the country. Here's one that didn't work. It's an accordion that Border Patrol officers say had more than 4 pounds of meth inside. An 18-year-old is now in custody for that. Officials say the meth is worth about $13,000.
Jessica Ford says she found black mold in her apartment here at Laguna Village. And what's more, she says management is doing nothing about it.
I woke up in the morning and my ceiling was gaping open.
Jessica Ford says during Monday's storm, water began gushing into her apartment. She immediately called management, which sent over an industrial fan.
They plugged it into this outlet while my wall was still damp.
You can see obvious water damage to her daughter's room, with water pockets bulging from the ceiling. Wednesday, a maintenance crew cut it open. What Ford saw shocked her.
Mold, tons of black mold.
Again, she called management to report the problem and got this response from Laguna Village's corporate office Thursday.
That drywall has a colored backing on the back of it, and that is what the discolored spots are. It's actually not mold, and there's no mold that's been seen.
Not convinced, Ford took a sample and gave it to a friend who is a biology professor. He looked at it under a microscope. The verdict, a black mold known to cause respiratory problems, especially in people who have asthma like her 6-year-old daughter.
I let them know that me and my daughter were feeling sick and that she was saying her lungs were hurting and she was dizzy. Nothing they could do. They wouldn't do anything.
There's a possibility of mold in her apartment, so what's being done to protect her?
He just told me to have you call him. Thank you.
The manager told us to call their attorney, which we did with no response. Meantime, Ford says her ceiling has been patched up without the removal of insulation, treatment of the beams, or testing for mold.
The mold isn't just from Monday, so obviously we've been breathing in the spores now for however, I don't even know how long, but it's terrifying.
Now, Ford and her daughter are now staying with a friend because she is very scared about breathing in that mold. We are also going to be taking some of that sheetrock and have it tested at a local lab. Reporting live in Chandler, Rebecca Thomas, CBS 5. Well, we sent that sheetrock sample provided to us by Jessica Ford to an indoor air quality certified lab, and sure enough, they found black mold.
I'm feeling even more scared than I was before to know that that is confirmed, and that's what it was, that we have been inhaling for a couple months.
Jessica Ford found a black substance on ceiling sheetrock after the roof leaked at Laguna Village Apartments. We sent it off to Southeast Environmental Microbiology Laboratories, where it tested positive for Stachybotrys, or black mold, which can produce toxic spores, a far cry from what management told Ford last week.
That drywall has a colored backing on the back of it, and that is what the discolored spots are. It's actually not mold, and there's no mold that's been seen.
After sending the report to PB Bell, the company that owns the complex, we asked why Ford was told it wasn't mold. Through email, we were told the response was based on a preliminary conversation prior to any investigation or professional testing. Yet that comment was made after the ceiling was patched up.
It's a complete joke. It's negligence.
Management did send in someone to test the air quality in Ford's apartment Monday, but according to Adam Carity, owner of Arizona's Restoration Experts, which is not working with PB Bell, that's not enough.
this is all wet.
Carity used sensors and thermal imaging to detect moisture content in Ford's walls and ceilings, which registered levels as high as 100%.
Anything above 20% moisture content can harbor growth or can create an environment where mold can grow. Professional remediation needs to happen at this point.
Meaning ceiling and walls need to go, and other residents who've had leaky ceilings should be concerned.
If things weren't taken care of correctly in this particular unit, just logical thinking tells you there's probably some stuff going on somewhere else.
Today, management finally agreed to move Ford and her 6-year-old daughter to another unit or let her out of her lease immediately. Reporting live in Chandler, Rebecca Thomas, CBS 5 News. Yes, we went from Tempe to Tonopah with these storm chasers, and believe it or not, we didn't see much rain. And the reason is, in order for photographers to get great pictures, they need to stay ahead of the storms.
This tower that we saw earlier is just shot up. It's pushed into close to 60,000 feet.
Around 4 o'clock Tuesday afternoon, we met up with storm chasing photographers Brian Snyder and Carrie Hutchings near Tempe Town Lake. As we shot video of a massive storm charging in from the southeast, their cameras also clicked away.
The monsoon's one of those things that you can throw textbooks out the window because it has a mind of its own.
As we prepared to head west just after 5 o'clock, Hutchings predicted the type of storm pictures they'd get as the evening wore on.
Epic, absolutely epic. It's going to be something that we haven't seen in a while.
Sure enough, just after 6 o'clock, we stopped near Indian School and Perryville Roads in Buckeye just in time to capture a dust storm and what Snyder calls the money shot.
Just seeing a shelf cloud. I mean, it's just a lot of chasers are envious of us right now.
From there, it was on to Tonopah, where they trained their lenses on captivating clouds and an Arizona sunset only a monsoon storm can deliver.
One of my missions is to show people that there are incredible weather here in Arizona, and you got to see it. You know, you and your photographer got to see it, and that's really cool.
Now, if you would like to see the amazing pictures from these storm chasing photographers, we have linked their websites to ours. Just visit CBS5AZ.com. Reporting live in Tempe, Rebecca Thomas, CBS 5 News.